Hey, for those of you returning to the channel, welcome back, and for those of you that are new here, that have just stumbled upon this video, then thank you for joining me. Here is my spoiler-free review of Black Bag, a spy thriller directed by Steven Soderbergh and written by David Koepp. And I've been looking forward to this movie for a number of reasons. One of those reasons being Michael Fassbender. I absolutely adore Michael Fassbender as an actor. You've got Pierce Brosnan here, the James Bond that I grew up with, as well as Steven Soderbergh. And the reason why, because of Steven Soderbergh, is because of his most recent movie that was released at the beginning of the year here in the UK, called Presence. I was absolutely enamoured by what he achieved within Presence, with how he constructed his narrative, how the narrative would flow, and how that movie just swallowed you up within this sort of family dynamic. And as a result of Presence, it got me really thirsty, or just wanting more, to see more from Steven Soderbergh, to see what else he could pull off. And when it comes to Black Bag, for me anyway, it definitely felt like Steven Soderbergh was flexing his muscles and just going, yeah, look what I can fucking pull off. Because what he does here with Black Bag is adapt the same sort of style, the same approach to how he told the narrative in Presence. And he uses the same technique here in how the narrative is structured. And he pulls it off. I thought he did a fantastic job at sort of adapting that kind of same structure in regards to how that narrative plays out, the kind of the tightness of how the story is told. And he just creates an experience here with the Black Bag, like he did with Presence, in a way that just swallows you up within this story and within sort of this sort of the dynamic between the relationships with these characters. And it is an incredibly immersive experience as a result. But I have sort of jumped ahead there a little bit. So Black Bag, the plot, the synopsis. The story revolves around intelligence agent George Woodhouse, who is tasked with investigating his wife Kathryn, also an intelligence agent, when she is suspected of treason. This puts him in a dilemma between a loyalty to his marriage and his duty to his country. So yeah, the Black Bag. Just like Presence, the narrative is meticulously structured in a way that just swallows you up within the world of espionage, that in many ways ends up sort of feeling very intimate. You know, this isn't a movie with big action set pieces, with car chases and big explosions. You've got none of that. But it's more of a focus on this relationship between a man and his wife who work for the same agency, as well as their relationship with their co-workers. And it sort of really kind of hones in on sort of the manipulation, trust and lies of one another within this sort of relationship and within this organization. And I just found, due to how this movie was structured, like I said, it's meticulously sort of constructed in a way that just swallows you up, and you're there with these group of characters and you're completely immersed and engaged with what is happening. Yet there is no action set piece within this movie. This is a movie that relies heavily on dialogue and sort of characters communicating with one another in sort of different settings. But it's how these moments are constructed, with how the camera sort of is positioned, sort of the composition of certain scenes, and just sort of how certain moments will be framed, as well as the very sharp and tight and very smart writing that just sort of sucks you into every moment. And a good example of this is a scene during the first 5-10 minutes of the movie, and it's a scene that kind of sets up and establishes our main characters and this relationship between one another. And it's an incredibly effective scene. And it's a scene that is purely just a group of people sitting around a table. And it goes on for about 5 to 10 minutes, but it never feels like 5 to 10 minutes. And a lot of that is down to how tight and sharp and smart the writing is within this moment, how the scene, sort of the composition of the scene, how sort of certain moments are framed, from the gorgeous cinematography and just the lighting within moments like this scene that I'm talking about, that just completely immerses you into the moment, where you are so... well, I was anyway. I was completely engaged with what was happening and what was being said, and it's all down to sort of how tight and sharp the writing is and just how everything is constructed within these moments. It is incredibly immersive. It's incredibly effective. It's very clever, and it feels different. It feels new, and everything about how the experience is constructed is, like I said, it's meticulously planned out. Nothing ever feels too long, or a scene doesn't feel out of place. Everything has a reason. And, you know, the film is around, I think it's 1 hour and 30 minutes, and it works again as a result of its runtime, just like it did with Presence. And just the writing within these moments, you know, scenes that are very sort of dialogue heavy, it works because the writing is very natural and organic, and then that's also aided by the great performances from all of the cast. Michael Fassbender is superb here. I just adore this man as an actor anyway, and I just love how he brings this character of George to life. He says so much by just how he handles himself, and it'll be like these certain sort of very kind of nuanced sort of things that he would do with his expressions, like very small details and sort of very kind of nuanced expressions that would say so much. Like, he would only have to look at another character and his eyes would say so much. He is an actor that is capable of expressing so much through just how he handles himself, and just how he sort of just through sort of very nuanced facial expressions just is able to achieve so much. And he does that here, and you end up sort of really understanding a lot about the character with him not really saying an awful lot about himself. You kind of get glimpses into his past and sort of the type of person that he is, but again, it's done in a way that's very clever. It's very smart, and it could be a sort of a simple moment of him picking up some clothes, or just how he would be sort of sitting down at this table with this group of people, or just how he would walk through a nightclub to sort of have this meeting with someone. Just the way in which he holds himself within this movie just said so much. Same goes for Cate Blanchett, who plays his wife. She, again, here is absolutely superb and does such a fantastic job, you know, along with the writing, at sort of constantly keeping you on your toes and just wondering. And there's just something very seductive about the way in which she plays a character here that I just found very compelling, very intriguing, very mysterious. I absolutely loved how she brought her character to life. I do have to mention, and, you know, for those of you that have been following me for a while now will know, I'm a massive James Bond fan. And you've got Pierce Brosnan here. He plays Arthur, the head of this spy agency, and there'll be a certain scene, a certain moment where you've got Michael Fassbender and then you've got Pierce Brosnan sort of in the background, and this moment just made me grin from year to year, because one, you've got the James Bond that I grew up with as a kid, but then you've also got Michael Fassbender within the same frame, the one actor that I would absolutely love to see play or portray the character of James Bond. Like, for me, he is my number one choice to play James Bond. I think when it comes to age, I think he's perhaps a little bit now on the older side. Fassbender has always been my number one choice to play James Bond, and just to have these two actors within the same frame, it was kind of like, it really just did make me smile. And there is this very wry sense of humour running throughout the movie. It's very sort of obscure, it's very dry, and it's right up my street. And I just loved how the humour is weaved into certain moments. Like I said, on the surface, it's not really obvious. But that's because of how dry the sense of humour is. And I found it to be incredibly clever in how it was sort of worked into certain moments. Like a character might just say something very simple, but just the way in which it's delivered and how it sort of works within that moment, I just found incredibly effective. And then there's a lot of moments which made me chuckle and really kind of made me smirk, because I kind of wasn't expecting it. And I don't think it's going to work for everyone. Like, I don't think the entire experience is going to work for everyone. But for me, I just had a real good time with this movie, right down to that kind of very dry sense of humour that's running throughout it. Like I said, it's not really obvious, but it works with sort of the tone that I felt Steven Soderbergh was aiming to achieve here with this experience. The humour, it's very nuanced, it's very subtle, and it just works beautifully within the story. Like I said, I just found it incredibly effective, and it's all aided by the delivery as well from the cast. I really enjoyed Black Bag. I really didn't know what to expect, but it was a very satisfying experience for me. It starts beautifully and it finishes beautifully, and it is just constructed in a way that swallows you up within this very sort of intimate world, this kind of very intimate relationship with these characters. And if you're going to go into this film expecting big, giant epic action set pieces and car chases, then you are going to be disappointed. It's not one of those spy stories. This is a much more human story, and it's the focus on that kind of very real human element that I found to be incredibly refreshing. It's done in a way that's very effective. So yeah, enough rambling from me. I highly recommend Black Bag. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be for everyone, but it's a spy thriller done in a way that is incredibly refreshing, it's engaging, it's immersive, and it's all brought to life by the incredibly smart and sharp writing and the fantastic performances from the cast, as well from a technical perspective, from the gorgeous cinematography to how the camera is implemented within certain moments. There are some gorgeous sort of scenes in regards to how they are framed and just how they are brought to life through the lighting. I just found it to be an incredibly engaging and refreshing experience that kind of almost taps into a very sort of old school style of telling a spy story. It's quite simple in many ways, but very layered when it comes to the human element. And I enjoyed it because of that. And I just feel like the movie starts beautifully and ends in a way that is also incredibly beautifully done, but very satisfying. And like I said, I think the film is 94 minutes and it also works effectively as a result of that runtime. So yeah, enough rambling from me. That is my spoiler-free review of Black Bag, and I would be giving Black Bag So yeah, they are my thoughts on Black Bag, but what did you guys think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you agree or disagree with anything I've said? And please let me know in the comments below and let's get a discussion going. And if you've made it this far into the video, then thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And if you want to watch future movie reviews, I'm just some random Welsh geek rambling on, then please hit that subscribe button. It will mean an awful lot to me. My next review will be for another cinema release this weekend, and that is In the Lost Lands, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. And like, I've seen the trailer and it looks very much like a Paul W.S. Anderson movie. You got, surprise surprise, Mila Jovovich as the leading actress, and Yeah, I mean, the only thing that's got me kind of remotely intrigued by In the Lost Lands is that it's based on a short story by George R.R. Martin. And so, yeah, that'll be my next review over the weekend, by Sunday the latest. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for connecting to the channel, whatever it be, liking, subscribing, commenting. It means an awful lot. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll be catching you guys soon.